game.
Today's topic is the African Caribbeans communicating economics and industry? Question mark. Yeah. Now I put this question out there, yeah, as we do on the BB, and I had a lot of people hearing the word economics, and they literally got frightened and said, "Peaches, that question doesn't make sense." So I was, "What do you mean it don't make sense?" They go, "It don't make sense." I was like, "Yes, it does." This Napa, by the way, who said that. Yeah. And then I turned around and said, "Well, are they communicating money or business?" And he understood that way, you know what I mean? It's like most people, when I turn around and put out certain words, they're just like, what's the term? So you know what? I think it's only right because I introduced the first guest, yeah, which is Marcus Explains.
Marcus Explains, Northwest 10 repping, Brentborough, I'm a community.
So, it's Marcus Explains inside the building. So Marcus, like, for people who ain't heard about you, explain who you're an artist. I mean, what do you mean? What kind of direction you coming from in the context of the music and that?
Yeah, that's a you know, all-round artist specifically. You know, visual music, make hip hop. You know, part of a collective that's putting out some good work, getting ready to make some very solid moves.
So I'll introduce the next guest. So the next guest, Viv Ahmun.
Respect, my dear. Calling me out of my business early morning. My name is Viv. I myself as a social entrepreneur, which means I do like to make money. I like making money, but I love redistributing that money within my community.
PGC, come and introduce yourself to the people.
Well, this is PGC. Thanks so much to Peaches, Yinks, Bandit for inviting me in today. Really looking forward to discussing matters around financial literacy amongst our people.
So, Ahmun Rasta, let's go. Introduce.
Big up Deja Vu FM, you know, Ahmun Rasta, go by the short abbreviation of representing the rebel lions of creation, the RU1 family, African Revolution, Punch and Juicy, and loads more, you know. We're basically building up a pan-African movement right now, which is about educating the youth about keeping the economics within our community so we can build the industries and institutions that are needed for us to move forward as a people. We see every other nation has been able to do it, and like Marcus Garvey said, if we cannot do it, then we shall perish.
Lucci, you're inside, yeah? It's only right that we just get you on the mic.
Yeah, Lucci's pretty excited in this mother. I like to swear, but I won't. I'm in here. I'm with my cousin Marcus, me myself. I'm a videographer. I'm a beat maker. I rap. I do everything, and I have a very opinionated like persona about me. So hopefully I'll get involved today. But I'm an artist as well, and I'm black, so I deserve to be here.
So what's your view? Do you think that the African/Afro-Caribbeans are actually communicating economics?
I think maybe taking the case of us, like, since we come to England, I think we should be much further, especially in the business aspects. But like kids in school, what they've been teaching and stuff, and what we're trying to aspire to, I think as a people as such, I don't know what we're trying to aspire to at the moment. Is it quick money? Is it kind of like maintenance or being able to build on something? I just don't know what kind of like stage we're at, you know what I mean, at this moment in time. So it's good to have the collective people in here, you know what I mean, because I want people to take from this show like ideas and like take things forward, you know what I'm saying? Then kind of contents there. Because, you know, me, you know what I mean, I've like, from young, you know what I mean, always been on that kind of like business vibe, you know what I mean, how to make, you know what I mean, like wealth, not just quickly trying to make some money. So like in certain aspects it's been, you know what I mean, long, but in the other aspects I've squandered so much money growing up myself, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no.
Just with life,
I think we all have. Sorry, I think about how do we impact in, because we got to look at the economics is how our country or individual countries survive in the selling, buying of goods, and how they obtain those goods, and then how they then put it back back into the economy to serve communities and their country. And if you're looking at microeconomics, which means individual companies, lenders, you're talking about banks and that, and how they lend money, and then you've got to look at the APR, which a lot of people don't check out, and that. So if you're talking about those dynamics, how a lot of people are borrowing, but then they haven't got enough money to pay back what they're borrowing, and then the country still has to survive, and this is our problem. Are we equipping our community in the right way, in the right businesses for them to succeed? Because we've got from Sainsbury's to road sweepers to people trying to work for themselves. What is going to be the best for our community? How can we invest in our community and bring it back?
It comes down to industries and institutions. You see, because we haven't got independent institutions, we don't teach our children what economics is. Now, a lot of people hear the word economics. I didn't know what, I've been conscious for a long time, but I didn't know what economics was till about 6 months ago. Our people aren't educated onto what economics is. And then when we're looking at economics, we should be the richest people on the planet. Because we come from the richest nation on the planet. So then we see the reason why we are not rising economically is one, because we are being oppressed, but two, because we're not fighting that oppression because we don't know what's going on. The Asians and the Jews, through their rites of passage, through their growing up, they learn that in order for their culture to survive, they need that economics. So that's what we gotta be looking at right now, working together to get industries and institutions. There's movement out there. There's the Uhuru movement, the Pan-African National, the National African People's Parliament. There's Pan-African movements that are getting together in order to help Africans to rise. I was with Umar Johnson, went to about four of his lectures. He's doing this thing. He's looking to build a school in the US, and if they get the money, they'll build a school in the UK as well. And these schools will teach our children the importance of economics, and our people are going to have to get together right now. We don't have a choice. To survive economically is not a choice, because if you do not survive economically, you will be in poverty. If you're in poverty, you don't try to stop crime, because you can't stop crime without stopping poverty. And if you ain't going to stop crime, then you can't stop the man them being in the underworld. If you can't take them out of the underworld, then the man them ain't going to stop killing each other, because they need to eat off each other, because they don't see no economics. The Indian man's children don't have to go and rob, because their generation, even though it was a bit easier for them, their last generation worked and fought. They lived 10 men in one house, yeah, in order to build up the economics, to provide businesses so they could hire their own children. Our children have to go to normally another nation to be hired, and normally we're disrespected, so we don't want to work for no one else. We'd rather work on the streets, and that's the cycle we're dealing with right now. So we need to get together as a people and realize it's not hard. We've got resources within the community, and we need to start using it.
Like following on from that powerful statement by Ahmun just now, if it's not abundantly clear to people that we need to be more self-efficient, we've seen in the mainstream media recently where a lot of the riots that we have fought, blood, sweat and tears over probably like 80 years, just riots like, you know, just having a sort of, not to be dismissed for any kind of like vague reason, yeah? The current government, current administration wants to strip that away, yeah, and say, okay, we're going to give you some shares, probably in some baseless company, not like an Apple or anything like that, just some divvy shares here, 2,000, and if you get dust out by your employer, that's it. You can't go and get some little welfare loan, you can't get any JSA, it's it. So why even take that? Why not start building up your own little firm right now, link it up with other conscious people, and then just like walk away from this kind of hellish kind of financial system that's only going to get worse.
We went to a premiere of like a young black man who started a movie, and a lot of things he was actually saying when it comes to the contents of like starting a movie, doing everything, like, come out of his own pockets, and it's like money, you know what I mean? Without money,
it's like you're limited.
Yeah, it's like he couldn't do nothing, and he just like for the next movie that he said he would do, you know what I mean, he's hoping for that big investment. You know what I mean? So like Marcus explains, you're an artist and stuff, you know what I mean? Obviously independent, yeah? So like, I mean, in the context, what kind of constraints you had in trying to like get through in this kind of music kind of industry?
The mentality across the board in the UK is generally don't really support your own artists, and that's anybody. Not even getting specific to our community. Generally, you know, it's like a start step to say, yeah, I want to support, I want to buy that CD, you know. So it causes an energy of being a bit jaded, you know, where you just got to think. Like for me personally, I give my music away to my neighborhood for free. I don't actually expect them for some kind of unfortunate reason, I don't necessarily expect them to support me, because there's a mentality in the neighborhood that if you support somebody that's next to you, they may get ahead of you. Just keeping it 100, see what I'm saying? That's the energy that I think we all pick up. You know, in the cut, it's a bit watchy.
You are an artist, yeah? Or you produce a product, yeah? So you produce that product. You say that you give free because of your mindset, because of what you see. Is, you know what I mean? People are too watchy, a bit red eye, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? But should you not change that mindset if you produce the goods? It's got a price on it, no?
Having a developing business mentality, it's a global one. So I don't think it's small about, you know, just this island. Because it's an island mentality, and it's a mentality that it thinks it doesn't have, because it's you know, England and all that. But the island mentality is no different than Jamaica, or you know, it's like an experiment. Over here is just, you know, there's not enough space. You know, there's not enough room, you know, to maneuver. So everybody holds their cards close to their chest. It's a lot of those things. You know, the opportunities are limited. You know, so it makes the whole mood a mode of okay, let me pull this one back to get ahead. And look, but I just observe it. I know it to be there, but it doesn't dictate the moves I choose to make. You know, because my aim is to be a billionaire, because I know that's what we need to build the schools, to build the laboratories of scientific research, you know, to establish, you know, the institutions. Like any other community or nation, you know, you have to have very wealthy individuals with mainstream products and trying to achieve mainstream things. You know, Colgate don't just sell to, it's a white company, it could be a white supremacist company, but it don't just sell toothpaste to white folks. Everybody. So I'm interested in us having the same kind of businesses. Be less niche. It don't mean you're selling out or nothing. Have a very strong manifesto to your community, but don't be niche. You know, have flow companies that are like worth 500 billion. You know, we need some Warren Buffetts in our community, some, you know, Berkshire Hathaway type of institutions and things like that. So, you know, it's just mainstream thinking, a global perspective.
Put something out there, because you know that we're talking about community and coming together, because the only way we can bring up our economics in our community, the black community and black Caribbean community, is by working together and teaching those who are coming up. And I find that we don't have enough people who are well established that are saying, you know what, coming back to the community and saying, this is what needs to be done, this is the movement, let me educate you so that you can educate your children. It's that saying that you can give a man a fish, but you know what I mean, you've got to learn how to fish, do you know what I mean? You don't just give him the fish. So I think that's what we need to bring back, in a sense of like educating our community and letting them understand that the only way we're going to build our economy and add, because remember, we live in the UK, we live in Britain, so as much as we might say, oh, the black economy, we're still adding to the country's economy, which is the overall view, isn't it? And if we look at, like, you know, nursing and, you know, like supermarkets, what is the majority of people who are working in those? And those are the things that are keeping the infrastructure of the country, because you need nurses, you need doctors, and I think that people forget that we are in there. Do you know what I mean? There's black doctors, there's black nurses, but what we need to bring it back is those black doctors and nurses need to come back to the community and say, look, we are where we are, and this is what we can do, this is how we've got there, now let's bring our people up. And do you know what I mean?
everyone wants to be individuals, and that's the problem. You know the one that we are a collective family, whether we like it or not. One of the main things they've done to us as Africans is we are the only people that say you do not mix business and family. Now that is a retarded statement to make, but we make it all the time. How can you not mix business and family? The Europeans do it, they're successful. The Asians do it, they're successful. So how can we not mix business and family? The reason why, Willie Lynch Fairy, that's it. We've been set against each other to the point where we will hold our brother back when our brother's doing his music thing. You know the one there, I'm an artist, and I understand that there's many conscious and positive speaking artists around me, there's many positive speaking people, but they don't want to support. They don't want to support. They want to go forward themselves. Now me, I'm not on that mindset. For that right reason that people don't want to support me, I've stopped doing music in order to go into my community and do some work to back up what I'm saying, and on top of that, build a collective of musicians that we move together as a collective and build an industry independent, so we're not always our words ain't tarnished by what they want to say. We can do our thing independently. We have YouTube, we have all of these things. We just have to work together. That's the main thing. And what the sister was saying about them come back to the community, we have to also remember that we're not. Being black people is like a statement to leave us without a nation. We are Africans and we have a nation and we have land and we have resources, right? So we have to really connect back to their seat, and so instead of always investing in other nations, we got to invest in Africa first hand. We got to have the links there first hand. And that can't be too difficult to get, you know what I'm saying? So that we can come over here now when we're starting our businesses, we know that the money that we're making and we're buying is building back up Africa.
Alright. Yeah, I just want to post something to Viv, who's inside. Viv, I'm hearing a lot of people talk in regards of people's mind states, yeah? Looking at not being able to build because of this. I would like you as a social entrepreneur, yeah, who does what he does, what's your view about this? How do you get to implement that change?
First and foremost, I just want to give recognition to the very conscious words that have been laid down already. I think, sorry, brother, what's your name? Mark is talking about the island mentality. I think that's 100% correct. 152% correct. It's got to be the starting point. We have to have a global mentality. That's the first thing. We're in a war. We're in an economic war. And people need to understand that. You've got youths running around on the road. They know that they're in a war subconsciously, but they don't consciously understand. And so that war mindset is playing out against them one another. Right? Now you've got people, well-meaning people, who want to stop that. They think they need to damp down the war spirit. That's not what needs to happen. It needs to be channeled. It needs to be directed. You understand? And in a lot of the businesses I operate in the public sector, they talk about capacity building. But they don't capacity build our communities. What they do is they dumb it down. Right? We need to capacity build our communities. Now I'm nearly 50, I'm 48. Right? So there's an intergenerational thing here that needs to be touched on. Those elders, or those who are moving into an elder state, need to be sharing their wisdom, passing it down, not with arrogance, but with humility. You understand? What we haven't also touched on yet is the politics, right? Domestic politics. We need to take over our villages, one village at a time. One village at a time. And you know, my enemy's enemy is my friend. Again, because the brother touched on that already, right? If you're talking about generating income and making money, you sell to whoever wants to buy whatever you got, right? And but you do it because at the end of the day, you've got a plan. You understand why? You got your micro plan, and you got your macro plan, and then you got your Uber plan. Now that Uber plan, let's take the Chinese. The Chinese, their business plan is 500 years. They have a 500-year business plan. We can't even get our youths to plan for a month. You understand? Right? So yeah. One of them, I mean, I like to describe myself as a mind doctor. I'm a trained psychotherapist and so on and so forth. And I spend a lot of time coaching and supporting the white psychotherapists. So I do a lot of work for the British Association of Council of Psychotherapists, working with these individuals who then go in and go and work with our people, but they give them what I call sub-food. They don't give them the full food. They can only get the full food from themselves, which is us. And so the fundamental point is this. there's a lot of talking and there's not enough action, right?
Right.
And I want to qualify what I mean by that. Making money is habit, right? So raising your child up from day one, which is what we see when you go into certain shops. The youth is there giving the change and taking the change. So by the time that youth gets to 7, 8 and 9, it's habit. There's no thinking, it's subconscious. It's pre-conscious. There's no conversation that needs to be had. They don't need to say we need to work together. It's a habit. It's just the way things are done. It's their paradigm. They don't know any other way of doing it. And that's our challenge. Our habit is not working together. Our habit is the crabs in the barrel. And then what happens is when you get unique individuals that think in a way that's different from that, they're seen as the enemy. Right? So those of us who do think in a conscious way need to work together much more efficiently and be redoubling the effort to do that. Because even those of us who think, oh, we're conscious, let me own it, let me take it, put it on me. Even though I think I'm conscious, trained up as a Garveyite, a Pan-Africanist and so on and so forth, sat at the feet of eminent individuals who have moved on to that higher level, right? I still got the seeds of dysfunctionality deep rooted in there. So we have to be reinforcing it on a daily basis. And operating in a state of anticipatory excellence. Because we all vision, you know, all of us are visioning. You know, the melanin plays a critical part in that process in terms of activating and amplifying the third eye. But unfortunately, coming back to this dysfunctionality, too many of us vision negatively. Right? So imagine that you have that active third eye, but you don't know how to use it. So you're visioning, it's like Cyclops when they take off the glasses and they just mash up everything. They can't channel it. So they're visioning negatively. But the visioning is so powerful that whatever they vision comes into existence. So if they're visioning negative, that's exactly what they get, right? We only have to go up the road to Ahmun Hospital there, go into the mental health wing. There's no white people in there. There's no Asian people in there. There's just black men who have visioned themselves into that place because they've had no guidance or no direction, which is why it's critically important that we work the young and the old together.